Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Yes, it is appropriate, I think. Welcome, everyone. And as those coming in now, if you could take your seats and perhaps have your hymnal ready for, it's hymn number 19, which we will be singing after the prayer. But hymn number 19. Welcome everyone in person that are made it to Marwick, even though we did wonder for a while whether it would be thunderstorm, lightning, showers, etc. But here we are, and a warm welcome to those of you also on Zoom. Many years ago, decades ago, in one of our brochures, this phrase I read to you. Beneath the everlasting hills, in a land that is kind to old age, resides the retirement community of Monte Vista Grove Homes. That has stuck with me for decades. Beneath the everlasting hills, in a land that is kind to old age, resides the retirement community of Monte Vista Grove Homes. The scripture I've chosen is Psalm 121, and I'm reading from the Bible that was presented to my late husband in 1953 for first-class honors in the Teens Club study class. Precious to me. Psalm 121 is a song of ascents. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From whence does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun shall not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. Let us pray. Loving Creator God, our world is in need of your peace, your loving and your healing. We pray that you bring hope where there is despair, unity where there is division, and healing where there is pain. Guide our leaders with wisdom to protect the vulnerable and to stir compassion in all of us. We pray in Christ's name. Amen. We will now sing hymn 19, and we will remain seated. Rebecca? Thank you. How blessed we are to live beneath these everlasting hills here in Pasadena, a city of approximately 140,000 people, a city known worldwide for its cultural institutions, its museums, its gardens, its architecture, its natural beauty, with an historic Mount Wilson Observatory overseeing it all. And of course, the Tournament of Roses and the annual Rose Parade. Today, we're focusing on the Pasadena Public Library, founded in 1882 as the Pasadena Library and Village Improvement Society. Last year, it celebrated its 140th anniversary. And today, we're going to learn about the current Pasadena Public Library. We're going to get an update on the Central Library earthquake retrofitting project. We're going to learn about the 10 branch libraries throughout the city, 10 branch libraries. That's really quite unique in a city of 140,000. And we're going to learn about the services that they offer. Our nearest library, as most of you know, is Lamanda Park Library, 5-minute drive from here, with a lovely new pocket park. And I often go and sit and just watch the children with their family playing in the park. We had this gem so close to us. Our speaker, Shauna Redmond, is well qualified for this task of informing us about the library. She is right behind me. Shauna started her Pasadena Public Library career at the Central Library in 2002 as the Reference and Information Access Librarian. She served then from 2008 to 12 as the senior librarian in 3 of the branches. 2012, she returned to Central Library as the new Virtual Services Division, a position she holds still. She is a member of the American Library Association, the Los Angeles Library Association, and this especially intrigues me, and on the Intellectual Freedom Committee of the California Library Association. I look forward to learning a great deal from Shauna. Please show her a warm welcome. There's water here if you need it.
Thank you for having me here today. I'm mostly going to spend a little bit of time updating you on what you can expect for the Central Library's retrofit, and then I am going to talk to you about what's available to you right now and in the immediate future from the Pasadena Public Libraries. So just so you know, Gruen Associates are the design organization, the architecture, design, and planning group that have successfully created a design plan for the retrofit. So this is just a little bit of information about what I'm going to be talking about, but I'm not going to waste a lot of time telling you what I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to talk about it. So the background to the project, I don't know how many of you know this, but the Central Library building was designed by Myron Hunt, who also designed the Rose Bowl. In 1925, there was a sort of a design contest, and he submitted a plan that was successful for the first building in the civic design plan for the Bennett Civic Design Plan. It was the first building of the Central Library, the City Hall, and the Convention Center that was designed and built, and it opened in 1927. So she'll have her 100th anniversary in 2 years. And when we closed from COVID and reopened, we started to look at upgrading some of the fire sprinklers and some of the kinds of things that needed to be done to make sure the building was ready for reopening post-COVID. And they discovered that within these big sort of stucco-looking walls was unreinforced masonry, 2 layers of brick walls holding up, if you've been in there, the sort of mezzanine levels, the other floors, and it was deemed unsafe if a big enough and close enough earthquake takes place. So, with that in mind, they went through some design processes and went to City Council and presented 3 different options, one very inexpensive and fast, one medium option, and one more expensive option that would take a long time to reopen Central Library. And City Council decided on the middle option, which is basically they're going to take one of the layers of brick walls out. They're going to shore up the walls, they're going to remove all the interior paneling, and they're going to remove one layer of brick wall, and they're going to put in what's called a shear wall. So this is how it's going to look. They're going to take out a wall section, remove the finishes, remove the interior layer of those 2. You can see here there's a little gap, and they're going to construct a new shear wall and replace the interior finishes. They've all been, the paneling is coming down and being cataloged and carefully stored so it can go back and it'll look exactly like it did in that main hall once they're finished. We went through a lot of visiting and community outreach in order to decide how we should go about this retrofit. So this is a lot of the report that the visioning committee gave us about what people want to see, what people want to have in the library. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of services and programs in public libraries now besides just the books that some of us, when we were children, expected from a library. There's a lot more going on now. So we need meeting spaces, we need maker spaces, we need community rooms, we need tutoring space, electric car charging stations, bike racks, phone charging, lots and lots of needs for electricity. And in a nearly 100-year-old building, that's something that we need to upgrade. So this is just a screen that tells you that we've had a lot of people coming through our libraries in the almost 100 years it's been there. We averaged 1,000 visitors daily. We held almost 900 annual community and organization meetings. Over 500 events in that beautiful Donald R. Wright Auditorium happening annually, and 30,000 to 40,000 community members attending events. And of course, we do story times, author visits, cultural heritage events, and all kinds of other things, recitals, plays. It's a hub for historical archives, too. We have a special room at the Central Library called the Centennial Room, which is where we collect materials mostly related to local history, Pasadena specifically, but some of the surrounding area and some California history. And we even have some incunabula in there, so items before the printing press. So community outreach, we held a lot of meetings and events and talked to people, asking what they wanted to see. And the feedback was that the most asked question, when will the library reopen? And hopefully that will be in 2028. The timeline is 30 to 36 months, and they're starting phase 1 of the actual construction now. But and improved bathrooms. I don't know if any of you spent a lot of time in there, but the restrooms were sort of sparse and not near each other and hard to find, so that will be something that will be improved. And also the ability to get around in that building. It seemed to have confused people a lot. They'd come in from the parking lot side, north of the building, and come to the reference desk and say, how do I get out of here? They couldn't, it was very confusing the way it was laid out, partly because of additions that were made over the years that are going to be sort of improved. One of the most important things that we want to do is preserve the historic nature of the building. So it's going to look the same on the outside. It's basically the main hall, that great hall, is going to look the same on the inside. It's on the National Register of Historic Places, so it's important to us, and it's important to our community, which is very interested in tradition and history, to maintain that historic nature. So you can see there's a picture from probably around the time it opened. She doesn't look much later than the 1920s in there. And you can see that it was the first building in the city's historic Bennett plan. So to the south is the Civic Center Auditorium, to the north is the Central Library, and then of course City Hall. So we're gonna protect some of the features. The exterior, it's not gonna change at all. Some of the things in the courtyard will change, and there will be some improvements for accessibility that I'll talk about, but exterior and interior finish will remain the same, and the organization of the interior spaces around that central spine, the Great Hall, you can see it there in 1928, and it still looks a lot like that, will be preserved. And one of the really interesting things that they discovered is that Myron Hunt, although he designed this pre-1933 earthquake standards, Long Beach earthquake standards. So there's the brick, but he created this really ingenious ventilation system that's hidden by the bookshelf paneling in the main hall, but air ducts are behind those panels, and it funnels air in at the top and through the bottom and keeps the room very cool without a lot of electronic special work. So they're gonna replace some of the ductwork and maintain that historic and very innovative system. We're gonna have some changes to the courtyard. There are gonna be some new steps that connect the two patios. If you went there in the last 10 years before we closed from COVID, you'll remember there was a little coffee cart, and that was very popular. You could stop and get a cup of coffee and sit on the patio. So that's that patio. The patio on this side, on the west side, is near where the children's room area is, but there will be steps that connect them so people can move across instead of coming in and coming around. But this is what most people know and where most people would get kind of lost coming into the stacks. There were 4 floors of stacks where the books that you check out are located, and all that stuff was added in 1984. It's very sort of municipal looking, and that's one of the things that's going to change when they upgrade the Central Library. So I'm going to go through a few of the floor plans just to show you some of the things that might change. There will be an enhanced relationship between the two entrances. And that's one of the things, because people would get lost coming in from one side or the other, that will help them to navigate their way through. It'll be a more open sort of space between the south entrance and the north entrance. The north entrance is where the parking lot was, and the south end will be again, and the south entrance is on Walnut Street. So this is the existing circulation hall. Some stairs and 4 floors of stacks, and these floors are the things that are being held up by those unreinforced masonry walls and that are going to change. So what's going to happen is that unreinforced masonry, those shear walls going to go up and those stacks are coming out, and where all those books were before, it's going to be called the circulation hall, and it's going to have a lot more of a relationship to the main hall. It's going to have the high ceiling. It's going to make use of existing skylights and clear story windows that were sort of hidden by the stacks that were created in 1984, and it's going to be where our old reference desk was. The reference desk is the circulation desk is going to move to the side, and you're going to be able to see straight through from the north and the south entrance to the other side. And then there's a cross section of how it will look, the circulation hall. And the books, where are the books going to go? The books are going to go sort of in mezzanines around, on a mezzanine level around the existing mezzanine is going to wrap around that main hall, and you're going to be able to use an elevator or stairs to go up and get books in those shelves. You'll see pictures, you'll see renderings of it, but there are other improvements being made. A copy and print room, a bookstore, other things that are coming in. It's probably easier to just look at the renderings, but there will be a teen room on the lower level. There will be what we call the innovation lab, and that's a makerspace. So we had things like a laser engraver machine, a carving and cutting machine, a sewing machine, an embroidery machine, and some 3D printers that people could come in and use. You just take a little orientation, and then you come in when we have our open hours for the lab and use the machines to create. So it's a makerspace that will be bigger and brighter than the one we had before. And on the second level, above the main floor, there will be a little gallery where we'll be able to have exhibits of local history items and art and all kinds of things from our community and from artists. So we're thinking sustainably at the same time. Here you can see a rendering of what that circulation hall where the stacks once were will look like. If you are standing where you're looking now, if you look this way, you're looking toward the main hall, and that way you're looking toward the parking lot on the north side. So this is like we're standing behind where the new circulation reference desk is going to be. So it's going to be quite beautiful, and skylights and natural light. We'll be making use of natural light, and you can see these balcony mezzanine levels are where all of the books are going to be instead of in those municipal-looking stacks that we once had. It's going to be quite beautiful. And so the HVAC system upgrades are going to increase the efficiency. There's going to be a lot of LED lighting, and most importantly, leveraging daylight from existing skylights and reuse of the existing building, which is always the best way to reduce a carbon footprint. We're not rebuilding, we're improving for the 21st century. We're also going to be using sustainable materials throughout, replacing lawns with drought-tolerant turf. Additional trees will be provided, and we may be putting in sort of a learning garden area, which is, I don't know if you can see this on the west side, some version of a place where children and families and people can sit to have a green space and be outside and just have something nice a nice place to sit and think or read or play. So for the 21st Century Library, what we're going to be doing is we're going to increase the intuitive wayfinding. When we take out those stacks and put in that beautiful circulation hall, on the main floor, you're going to be able to see right through, so you know where you are at any given time, and it's going to sort of harken back to the main hall, to the beautiful main hall. It's not going to look exactly like the main hall because it's going to be a modern kind of upgrade to that area, but it's going to speak to the main hall in the same way the paneling and the high ceiling exists now. There will be new meeting and study spaces. That's one of the things we get asked for a lot. People who either work from home or have a small business or want to have meeting space for tutoring. We're going to have rooms people can use for doing that. So they can book a room for 1 or 2 or 3 people to study together or to have little meetings, or to people do job interviews now on Zoom, so Zoom rooms. We're going to have spaces for staff and other people to meet and study. That's going to be the new executive board room there on the left. It's quite beautiful too, making use of an existing window that's been covered up by wall for a long time. And then we're going to have accessibility improvements, which are important. We're going to have a new accessible path from the parking lot side and from the front, the south entrance. So there will be sort of a wraparound path that you can get inside the building from the east side where the bus stop is. So people who used public transportation to come to the library will be able to come up a ramp. There will be a ramp, because that's not something in 1925 that was happening very innovatively. There wasn't a lot of accessibility, and people always have to climb stairs to get into the building now. We're going to have a new elevator too, a second elevator, one that's better than the old one, and then we have a second elevator already, but we're going to improve the elevator, and it's going to be larger. There will be a new ramp and slope walkways at the south entry. There are going to be more accessibility parking spots closer to the building on the north side in the parking lot. And we're going to improve the restroom facilities and accessible accommodations for patrons and staff. I don't know if you ever used those restrooms, but they weren't very pleasant and they weren't very accessible. So, and in progress design, so this is the way the Great Hall looks now. This is the way it looked around 1925 or 1927 when the library opened. And this is how it will look now. So this is around the same spot, but instead of a desk and a closed area, there's going to be an opening that pushes you right through to the circulation hall, and to the north parking lot or to the south entrance. So it'll be much easier to navigate and orient yourself in that space, and the two spaces will be more similar in talking to each other in terms of their architecture. But it will look the same. We're not going to change any of the more beautiful historic elements. And you can see this is another view with the existing skyline and windows from the new circulation desk looking toward the opening to the Great Hall on the right and toward the north entry on the left. And you can see people up in those stacks. So there will be balcony areas. If any of you have ever been to the Seattle Public Library, they have like a wraparound where their stacks are, and it's like a spiral, and all the books are along the edges, and that's how this is going to be with the mezzanine. Oops, sorry. There will be new stairs, but as I said, there will also still be an elevator, of course. And so that's another view. And this is where the learning garden, something will be on that west side instead of just a strip of turf, which is what we have now. And the new accessible path will be on the east side, right near where the bus stop is. And this is some ideas for how the learning garden will look. That's not set in stone yet, or in plants. And then the north entry, the parking lot is going to be improved. The parking lot has always been kind of small spaces, and it's hard to navigate, and we're losing maybe 2 spaces, 3 spaces in total, but it's going to be much easier. That they've got a more efficient way to lay out the parking spaces. And there will be a new accessible path up from the parking lot as well. And on the west side, there will be spaces for handicapped parking that's very close to the building. So here's another view of the entry as seen from Walnut, where the south side of the building is. This is looking kind of from where the parking lot is. The bus stop is. And then there will be new steps connecting the 2 patios. The coffee cart is coming back. We'll still have a coffee patio where people can sit and drink coffee and meet outside. The fountain will still be there, and the character, which is very defining of that kind of symmetry, will still be there. The trees on each side and all of that will still be preserved. In fact, it'll probably look a lot closer to what it looked like when it opened in 1927. Coffee cart, new plantings. Okay, so how are we paying for this? Some of you probably voted in November. I hope most of you did. In November of 2025, bond measure PL was passed by voters that raised $195 million to pay for this. And we're also still investigating other ways to continue funding as we might need it. The bid and construction contract was just awarded around a month ago. And anticipated construction duration is 30 to 36 months. And I'm really, really hoping that's true, so that by summer of 2028, hopefully we're reopening the Central Library, and we'll be inviting all of you and our community to come and see it. Well, on November 5th, so the voters passed Measure PL. The project will be financed through $195 million in general obligation bonds, and these voter-approved bonds are backed by property taxes, ensuring stable repayment. A lot of you probably know we also have a parcel tax measure in Pasadena that supports the library, the ongoing programs and services as well, which is a separate thing from the construction bonds. So it'll enhance safety. We'll reopen the Central Library through the use of dedicated funding sources. We'll ensure the library's continued cultural and historical ties to the community. We'll preserve the distinctive interior and exterior architectural features, which is very important to Pasadenans. We will integrate some modern technology, because a building that old does need some upgrades. And we will reduce future repair and construction costs by putting in the $195 million fix now, before things get more expensive or things come apart. So there are other things that are going to happen. Of course, removal of asbestos and lead paint, technology upgrades, the fire sprinklers that started this in the first place, reopening and restoration of Central Library Services, which is by far the largest branch of the Pasadena Public Library. Will maintain its history, its historic characters, and will replace, we have a leaking roof, so that will be replaced. And now I'm really interested in talking to you about what the library does for you right now. So our current programs and resources, of course, we have some marquee citywide events. So we participate in all the city's celebrations of Cultural Heritage Months, and we have an annual program called One City, One Story, where we have an author come. This year we had James, the book James by Percival Everett. I don't know if anybody participated in the One City, One Story. It was at, the author came to the Pasadena Presbyterian Church to do the program, and it's a wonderful, wonderful book. If you haven't read it, I really recommend that you read it. He's won just about every award for that book, and it's basically a retelling of Huckleberry Finn from the point of view of Jim, or James, as the book is titled, and it's really a wonderful book. We have author talks, in-person events, not just when the marquee programs happen, but at Lamanda Park, your nearest branch. The adult services librarian from Central is currently the branch manager, and she's the one who schedules lots and lots of local and other authors to come in person and talk about their work and present their books. But we also have online virtual author talks, which means you can go through our website, through our calendar, through a link, and sign up to attend a talk by Malala Yousafzai, or a thriller writer that you read. And you can even submit questions that'll be asked of the authors during the live event. So you can attend a live-streamed author talk from home, and you can also watch the recorded ones. We have book discussions and recommendations. Almost all of our branches have a monthly book group. Lamanda has a weekly book group. And we also have book group kits, which are bags with about 15 or 20 copies of a book and a guide to running a book discussion if you want to check out one of those book group kits for a book group that you might have here on the premises or with friends outside. We have a service called Your Next Good Read, where you tell us 2 or 3 authors that you like and a couple of book titles that you've read and enjoyed, and we'll recommend something for you to read next, 2 or 3 or 4 titles. We have some online resources that'll make book recommendations and have book reviews that you can read on a computer. We have, of course, print and electronic materials. We have books, we have magazines, we have newspapers, we have CDs, we have DVDs. We have all of that in electronic formats as well that you can check out and use on an iPad, a smartphone, or a computer. We have streaming film and television and music, so that you can stream music from your computer or your phone or your iPad. We have comics and graphic novels, both in print and in digital format. We have things called STEAM kits, which are science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, a box of things that you can take to use. We have ukuleles and guitars you can check out, robotics kits, all kinds of things in those STEAM kits. We have Chromebooks and hotspots, so you can check out basically a laptop and the internet accessibility to use at home, and more. Then we have craft, art, and hobbies. So of course we have in-person programming. We have a seed library at the Hill branch where you can get seeds to take home and grow, and if you can harvest seeds to return, you can, but you can still take the seeds and grow them even if you don't return any seeds to us. Printing, painting, sewing, knitting, crochet, gaming and board games, photo art, and more. We have health and wellness. We've done chair yoga, Zumba, Pilates. We have health screenings every month at 2 of our branches where you can get blood pressure taken and have and get other heartbeat and all kinds of health screenings from the Huntington Health. You can do reference and research. You can send email requests to ask us to answer a question for you or to help you get started with research. We are certainly the experts in the Pasadena history, the local history. We have people asking us from all over the world questions about Pasadena history. We have an online website called the Pasadena Digital History Collaboration where we digitize historic photos and documents, and it's a partnership between us, PCC, Pasadena City College, and the Pasadena Museum of History. You can go online now and see some lovely photographs and all kinds of interesting digitized historic documents. We have Book Us consultations, so you can basically check out a librarian to help you get started with research or tell you how to do something that you're interested in learning about. We have e-resources that have consumer information. We have genealogy. We have the library Ancestry Library Edition, so you can come to a library and use Ancestry if you're a genealogy person. We have courseware that you can do online. And then we do classes in person, so we'll teach you how to use a database, we'll teach you how to use equipment that we have, we'll give you e-reader help, we have small business consulting with SCORE, we do legal research at the Hastings Branch Library where a person comes from the LA Law Library and every week spends 4 hours helping people use the legal resources that are there, databases and so forth. And a couple of things that are in the works are some memory and Alzheimer's dementia kits. These are bags that have activities, books, and all kinds of information that focus on different decades from the 1940s through around the 1970s, and also kits that are focused on different degrees of memory loss, so people with mild memory loss, people with moderate memory loss, and then people with severe memory loss, and they are geared toward helping people and their caregivers sort of engage. And then we're going to have, hopefully, outreach and visiting hours. I'm thinking that one of the things we might want to do is come here to your library and make library cards so you can access all the things that we have that you don't have to leave here to use, or you can come visit us at any one of our 10 branch libraries. We have 10 branches open. Normally we only have 9 branches, but when Central Library closed, the Jefferson Elementary School campus, we have the Children's Services Division from Central Library at Jefferson now. So we have 10 branches that are open, and that's, yeah. So questions? And that's my email address. Feel free to take a picture of it. The QR code will take you to the library's website where you can find a lot of these resources, but I'm always happy to get an email from you and answer any question or help you find a service or a material that you might be interested in. We really do love to serve everyone, and we also want to know what you might want to see that we are not already doing. So please make use of it and ask any questions you have. Thank you.
We got questions.
Thank you so much. I don't know much about the Pasadena library system, so I learned a lot today. But one question I thought of as you were presenting was, what, if any, arrangements in the redo of the library have you made for expansion of your book collections?
Well, oh, yes. What options do we have for expansion? What plans have we made for expansion of the book collection in the library as we reopen or as we rebuild the retrofit? That is not something specific that, I mean, the way we manage our book collections isn't really to grow them exponentially. It's more about we weed, right? So we'll have a whole bunch of copies of a book that's popular, and then we'll reduce that when things get old or outdated, which happens quite a bit. We get rid of them, we eliminate them, we weed them, as we say, and we don't keep everything that we ever have, so it's kind of, at any given time, it's kind of always around the same size. The Centennial Room collection, which I forgot to mention is our local history collection, has been safely removed for now to, I guess the temperature and humidity controls were right to the old morgue in the Pasadena Health Department basement, because those things need, you know, special temperature and some certain dry conditions. So the morgue was good and already something owned by the city, so we didn't have to pay. We just had to sort of do some upgrades and put some shelving in, and those special historic materials will be preserved indefinitely, and we do add to those, but it's not a huge amount. And then the regular sort of circulating things, it sort of turns over in a way that it expands, I guess, a little bit, but it's probably still 23 years after I started, around the same size of a collection as it originally was at Central Library, which is, I think, around 300,000 items. And right now, they're housed in a warehouse that the city also owns called the Rose Palace down on Arroyo Parkway. And that doesn't have very good temperature, humidity controls. It's just a big warehouse, but we have shelves there, and that's where most of Central's collection lives. And that's, if you're in our catalog, it'll say off-site storage, and you can request those things to pick up at any one of our 10 open branches. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot of expansion in mind. It's more just managing the collection responsibly.
Question here. This is more of a comment. Thank you for this wonderful presentation today. I remember as a little boy going to the Washington Library with my dad, who would write sermons there during the week, and that was a wonderful memory.
That's lovely. The one, Santa Catalina, or the one on La Pintoresca? The one probably, well, yeah.
It's an older Spanish-looking
yes,
library.
Yes, Raymond and Washington, yeah,
yes,
the La Pintoresca
gorgeous,
branch.
Gorgeous.
Yes, Northwest. It is beautiful.
And this comment, you probably know this, but this community here at Bonavista Grove is a Myron Hunt design from 1924.
Yes, you knew. Yes,
you knew
yes,
that.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
all right.
We love Myron Hunt. Yes?
Hang on, Bryce. I'm on my way.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wondered how much or how are you coordinating with other libraries around the city, or are you able to make any connections so you can draw on those resources?
Do you mean outside of the Pasadena system?
Yes.
We're all one system. So some of our central library materials were sort of farmed out on what would fit in those communities. Like we had the branch staff that know their communities take some of the things from central. We made space, for example, to have CDs and DVDs at all of our branches, which we didn't before.
I was thinking of we don't need to proceed on this, but different universities and stuff. Are you connecting in some way with them?
Well, a public library, I mean, we have some things that are sort of academically minded, and of course we're all about instruction and education, but our purview isn't really the academic stuff. Like PCC students or even four-year university students come to us and ask for academic journal articles. Now, we don't, I mean, those kinds of databases or those kinds of print materials aren't things that are our bread and butter. We're more about stuff for everybody, sort of general interest. But our digital history collaboration is monetarily partnered with Pasadena City College, and so we have a relationship with other libraries, academic libraries, but there's not a lot of like borrowing kinds of things. I mean, certainly programs and how you design programs, statewide or even countrywide, we're always looking at what other libraries are doing and sort of trying to keep up and make sure that we're hitting all the things our community could ask or need from us.
Thank you.
I had an experience a little while ago where I'm a great believer in interlibrary loan and in the branch libraries, but that answers part of. There was a movie I wanted to get. It was an old one. Had to do with the film score because it was a historic film score that one of our bands was playing. So I went to them, Lamanda, like I was supposed to, and showed them my card. I said, I want this movie. They said, okay, we'll get it for you. Probably interlibrary. It might be a while. It was like I had completely forgotten I'd ordered it. It was like 7 months later, and here come. But it got there, and it had been in Montana or something like that. The interlibrary found the movie, got it to me. I got it from Lamanda eventually, and other than the fact that I just about forgot it, it works.
7 months is a long time, but I will tell you that was special because normally with interlibrary loan, meaning not within the Pasadena system, but outside of our system, you can ask us for anything and we'll try and get it. We send out like a broadcast request, and any answering library who's willing to lend that thing will send it, and it'll have a barcode that's temporary, that's a Pasadena, so you use your Pasadena card, and it might have a different due date than the Pasadena system. It depends on the lending library. But DVDs, CDs, AV material things generally aren't things that other libraries will send. So the fact that you got it at all, even if it was 7 months later, makes me happy. That's unusual.
Shauna, thank you so much. This has been very informative. I've heard on on NPR that in LA County there are a number of libraries that are lending tools. Is anything like that happening in Pasadena?
Not tools. I mean, I'm leaving here today because we're having our staff development day where we close all the libraries and learn and do and kind of converge with each other within Pasadena. But we are doing a program at the end of the day where staff who have ideas are pitching ideas for a library of things. That's what we call it when it's not a book or like a content kind of a title, when it's like a tool or a gardening tools, or we have backpacks for hiking. We have 2 telescopes we just got. One of them's at Lamanda, so you can check out a telescope. We have a lot of kits of things for homeschool kids, like microscopes and other things like that. We have toys and the STEAM kits that I mentioned. We have things. We don't have tools yet. But I don't know if somebody who's pitching one of these small grant ideas to our administration this afternoon might have tools in mind. I know that I'm going to be part of a pitch for having some things at the library to check out to support job and career for people. So like briefcases and bags and folders for holding resumes. We're working with area Goodwill, Salvation Army, and other thrift stores to try and get a voucher system where we can send somebody with a library card to get an interview outfit. We're going to look at making space available and laptops and headsets for Zoom interviews and for making people ready for an interview. And then, of course, the job and career prep that goes along with that. Cover letters, resumes. But we'll have a library of things we already do. It's just not necessarily gardening tools yet. Who knows? Keep watching.
Yes, thank you. This was so interesting and informative. Do you have any demographics by any chance for the age groups who visit the Central Library when it's open?
I don't have that specifically. I probably should have. I will tell you that demographically speaking, Pasadena is an aging community overall, and my particular area of interest, maybe because I'm now a gray hair myself and you know, over the age of seniorness, I'm interested in sort of improving that communication and the kinds of things that our services that seniors specifically might want or need. So I know that Pasadena overall is aging, and since COVID, the demographics, the population has decreased a little bit. People have moved out and gone away and that kind of thing, but I don't have for Central Library. I can tell you that like in my first year of working there at the reference desk 23 years ago, a woman came in one day who was in her mid-90s. She told me how old she was. I don't remember exactly how old, but I just remember her walking through the main hall just looking and looking, and she came to the desk and she said, I used to come here in junior high school and it looks just the same. And to me, that's one of the things that anybody in Pasadena, sort of steeped in history, is interested in, sort of seeing that preserved, that lofty feeling that you get when you walk into that great hall and all that possibility around you.
Shauna, thank you so much. Two questions. The banning of books. How does the Pasadena Public Library stand on that?
Oh, the Pasadena Public Library and almost any public library, even in those other states worth its salt, doesn't. There's no banning of books. That doesn't happen. That's when you said the Intellectual Freedom Committee. That's one of the things that this committee on the State Library Association that I'm on is interested in. And in fact, the state library, around the time, I don't know how many people heard about in Huntington Beach where the city council wanted, yes. That's not gonna happen in Pasadena. That's just not gonna happen. Luckily, we don't have that spirit because every book has its reader and every reader has his book, and it's not really anybody else's business if you wanna read this book or if you relate to this book. Books are windows, books are mirrors, books are sliding doors. They let you sort of, they should reflect its reader, or they should show the reader some other thing they couldn't imagine, or let them even try on something a little different, come in and out. And that's definitely the way the library feels. Our collection development policy is on our webpage, and you can read it and see that we are absolutely committed to protecting people's ability to read what they want and their privacy in reading what they're reading.
Thank you. You touched on the committee that you're on statewide. Could you say another couple words about the Intellectual Freedom Committee you sit on?
It's basically about intellectual freedom. Everybody's right to think the thoughts, to have the thoughts they have, right? To have the opinions. And it touches on free speech, obviously. It touches on a free press. It touches on a lot of things. But as far as the library world is concerned, it really is about protecting everybody's sort of autonomy and integrity in pursuing the education, the information that they want.
Thank you. Thank you. I have one more at the end.
Okay. Anybody else?
Many years ago, my interlibrary loan showed up from Halle, East Germany, and I think it cost $1.25, and I had to sign a release that I would pay more than $1 to get that book.
That's true. You have to tell us, because if the lending library wants to tack some charge on that we're not going to be able to pay, we ask you in advance, up to how much are you willing to pay for us to get this thing for you? And so you probably did say, I won't pay more than $1 for this, and $1.25, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just wondered, what about children?
What about children?
As far as open?
We have a lot of
anything.
children. Well, I will tell you that we don't have any kind of restriction. I mean, we have a children's room. If you've ever been there, the Central Library has a lovely children's room that is sort of a smaller tables and nice chairs and lamps. I mean, it looks just like the main hall. It has a beautiful fireplace, the Peter Pan fireplace. So, I mean, people go where the things they want are, and we wouldn't stop a child who came up with, say, a Stephen King book to check out. That's not what we're here to do. I myself learned to read very young, and my mom would look at the book I took home from the library and say, well, if you have questions about it, let me know. But I don't seem to have turned out to be too misguided. So we don't have any kind of restriction. We just have everything there, and we don't want small children in the library without their parents, of course, without their caretakers and their guardians with them, because a public library, after all, is a very public space. It is like a public park with walls around it. So people who think it's like Mayberry and they can leave their purse on a table and go to the restroom and it'll be there when they come back. I mean, we can't always watch what's going on. It's a public space in a relatively large, small city. And so, you know, we want you to have your people with you if you're too young to manage on your own. But that's what I would say about children and what they're reading. We don't police that in any way. Oh, yes. I'm going to try and come back and bring a pile of these. Off the shelf is the bi-monthly newsletter from the public library. It has all the programs and lots of information about what's going on at the library. So this particular one is in your library right now on the premises, and it's for September, October. And as soon as the November, December one is printed. Oh, that's the older one. Oh, well, I'll bring a stack. I'll bring a stack. You can also subscribe to that online and get a PDF format or an email kind of newsletter to your inbox on a regular basis if you don't want the paper. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? How do we join the library?
Well, you can come into the Lamanda Park branch. You can go to any branch. We usually ask to see photo ID, but I was talking with Helen and thinking that it might be a nice thing for me to come to your library on the premises with a laptop and a hotspot to get into our system, and I can bring the cards and make you cards. We'll have a day or a couple of days where I can make cards so that you can use them.
What do you think of that idea? Okay. Well, Rachel Lausch is our librarian. I'm her assistant here at the Grove. She's so sorry to miss this presentation, but we'll be very excited to hear that. And we look forward to have a membership sign up to the library happen here at the Grove, perhaps in the next few weeks. Shauna, I can't thank you enough. You've informed us, you've educated us, and we are so fortunate to live beneath these everlasting hills with a library system that is so comprehensive and so community-oriented. Thank you very much.